Hey guys, BigSquareRoadRunner.com. It's early in the morning. I'm sitting on the beach. Couldn't wake up Amy. We're going to the airport pretty soon, but needed to get something out. Veritaseum has fired back with a 423-page rebuttal. And shocking information in there about the SEC literally omitting information, screwing up the Jamaica deal. Remember, Reggie had signed an MOU with Jamaica, the Jamaican Stock Exchange. Apparently, the SEC went in there and disrupted the whole thing after the MOU was signed. They left that out of their emergency freeze of Reggie's assets. They cherry-picked information, omitted all kinds of information. Read this rebuttal from Veritaseum. You'll be shocked at the degree of... It's the bankers control the SEC. That's all I can figure out. Either that or they're really stupid lawyers. And I know the SEC had better lawyers than the CFTC, and we all knew the CFTC had stupid lawyers. But these guys, and now apparently they're in panic mode. I've had a few emails from people saying, oh my God, the SEC reached out to me to get a statement about the corruption at Veritaseum. I'm like, what do you mean? It was, Reggie had sold it as a software from day one. Everything he said was, it's a software. It's not a security. It's a software. I'm sickened by the SEC. There's one hope, and that hope is that they get a good judge who understands just how corrupt the SEC is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, if Veritaseum and Reggie come out of this thing with the SEC looking like they have egg on their face, which they should, I can't believe they didn't tell Veritaseum that they were the ones contacting the Jamaican Stock Exchange to crater that deal. That is huge revelation. Completely left out of anything they said in their emergency declaration. They got to freeze all the assets of Veritaseum. Veritaseum's up and running business. And Reggie, the thing about Reggie manipulating the price of Veri, we need to remember, Veritaseum is not traded on hardly any exchanges. The only exchange at the time it was traded on was Ether Delta, the decentralized exchange. Reggie announced beforehand that he was going to see if Ether Delta had the volume, had the liquidity. He announced like twice beforehand, before he went in to do his trades. He was testing the exchange. He wasn't trying to manipulate the price. But that was the problem. Veritaseum was not allowed to be traded. Was not allowed to be traded on any other exchange because Veritaseum could take the place of those exchanges. And these SEC lawyers would pick and choose words and phrases out of sentences and added them to the declaration to freeze his assets without giving the court the full scope of what he was talking about. Completely taken out of context. Now, if this judge doesn't take these SEC lawyers and ream them, I don't know what's going on with our justice system, truthfully. I already don't know what's going on. Let's be honest. But the SEC yesterday was contacting people kind of in panic mode, which is unheard of, asking people for testimony that Veritaseum was a con. The SEC has done really a lot of harm to Reggie and Veritaseum, and it looks like to me pure either stupidity or corruption. Probably the banksters going in and teaching stupid lawyers how they want this thing to go. And it just shocks me. It shocks me that the SEC went into the Jamaican Stock Exchange without telling Veritaseum or Reggie and disrupted the Jamaican deal. That was a monster for Veritaseum. It was proving that it is a software It's proving that it would be better as peer-to-peer exchanges than through a corrupt centralized system. And the SEC went in and tanked that deal. That's just shocking. It's embarrassing and it's criminal. So it's tomorrow that this goes in front of a judge. And by the way, the SEC kept saying, hey, you crypto people, as long as you work with us, things will be fine. All you got to do is work with us. Well, Reggie had been working with the SEC for 2 years, giving them thousands of documents, 4 full days of interviews, working closely hand to hand. And all of a sudden, they pull something out of their hat, and they try to freeze his assets instantly. I mean, literally. They gave Reggie no time at all. And they had told Reggie's lawyers that they would give him plenty of time if they were going to file anything. Something stinks to high heaven. Something had to be done quickly on the side of the banksters. I think we are getting very close to D-Day for our economic system, and that's why the SEC's controllers hit the panic button and had to try to take down Veritaseum, because they know Veritaseum fixes a gigantic problem, and that's the rigging of the markets. So we'll see how it goes, but I am just read through the report. The Veritaseum filed a motion, 423 pages, really good insight into just how corrupt the SEC is and how panicked they are now, especially because the SEC is contacting people at this late stage saying, help me, help me, help me. They'll probably contact some plant bankster criminals, and they'll give testimony. Oh yeah, Veritaseum was sold as a security to me. I knew nothing about the concept of software. Bullshit. Reggie was giving interview after interview about that. So there's your morning update. It was just ridiculous. What do? You fight the good fight. How long have I been saying it? You fight the good fight. Don't just take the regulators' stance on things, because you're going to find out. If you read the Veritaseum rebuttal, you're going to find out just how either incompetent or corrupt these guys are. And I don't know. What are we going to do? What are we going to do when the system is so rigged? I know Ben and other people are saying, no, let's turn this into a crypto thing. Well, if you don't remove those in charge of the corruption right now, what good is it to have a crypto corrupt system, right? We need to, like I said from the beginning, we need to wipe the slate clean, take these people out, and implement new leaders, new regulators, if we even need regulators. Cops on the street, absolutely. We need to bust people for fraud. But regulators are more corrupt than the criminals. And they do it from a place of power. I can't believe that the SEC sunk the Jamaican Stock Exchange deal. It's just without telling Reggie that they were contacting him. Veritaseum they found out through different means. Because I remember Reggie saying, I don't know what's going on, I guess it's just governments move slow with the MOU. They signed a memorandum of understanding to implement the software into the Jamaican Stock Exchange. And then the SEC is the one who torpedoed it. I think every Veritaseum holder should sue the SEC for what they've done to Veritaseum. See, I'm sure we can file a complaint somewhere. I'll get the complaint page out. Yeah, I know these. I've been screaming at the CFTC for years, and I thought nothing would ever happen. 10 years later, lo and behold, it isn't the CFTC that came out and said that silver market was rigged. It was they actually found the traders doing it, and they busted them. It wasn't the CFTC that busted them. It was the Department of Justice. Why do we have regulators if they can't do their job? Maybe we should just get rid of the regulators. As a matter of fact, that's why I said it in Acapulco. We need to get rid of the regulators. They're either too stupid or too corrupt. And it turns out, in the case of Veritaseum, it was probably a little of both. A regulator torpedoed the biggest deal in the Veritaseum arsenal. That would have opened things wide open, ripped the world wide open for Veritaseum. We would have had every stock exchange in the world coming to Reggie. Instead, the SEC stuck their face in, didn't tell anybody about it, completely corrupt. So we'll see what happens. I think it's tomorrow, the 22nd, that it goes in front of a judge. Hopefully the judge isn't bought and paid for like most other judges, but we'll find out. It's Big Weir, roadtoweir.com. Hang in there. Talk to you later.